Is it recording? Yay. Purple's my favorite cover. 12? 12? Yeah. 1, 2, and we're done. Hey fellow fiction fanatics, I'm Chase. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be judging books by their best editions. This is the third video in my judging books by their cover series. For all these books, I have a personal preference of one edition over the other. Alright, let's get into it. The first books I'm going to talk about is the Books of Bayern by Shannon Hale. So the original editions were like this. They definitely have a fairy tale storybook vibe, but for some reason they decided to change them and we got these editions. I don't even want to show them to you that long because I despise these. They're just bad, we're going to take that away. No, they don't look anything like the characters, they just look like models, posing, and I don't like them. That being said, I do like the fourth book in that edition. I think it's because this cover is not just a model taking a picture, it has a background and is not focused on just the person, but I think the publishers realized we don't like people on the covers, and so then they switched to this edition here, which definitely focuses more on the powers and the title of the book. So I prefer this edition over the people on the covers, but the original editions are very nostalgic to me, so I like those too. The second book I'm going to talk about is Birthday by Meredith Russo. So I don't really know a ton about this book. If I remember right, it's about two people who have the same birthday and it has LGBTQ plus representation. So I thought this cover represents that really well and makes me want to pick up this book. It looks fun and I want to read it. And for some reason, they changed it to this. Why? This looks like mugshots, two unhappy teenagers, or a birthday candle. The third book I'm going to talk about is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. The first edition here is the blue cover with the bee. The colors don't work together. I haven't read the book, so I don't know what the bee represents, but I don't like it, especially when there's this edition, which is so much more elegant. Like, it's just so pretty. I don't like this one, and I do like this one. The fifth book I'm going to talk about is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. So there's this edition, which has the ugly green font. You can barely see a spaceship and a planet in the background. Or you have this edition, which is just brown and boring. It doesn't make me want to pick up the book. And then there's this gorgeous edition here. Gives us the space vibes without having a weird, ugly ship. And the font is so pretty going down. I like this so much more than these two editions. And I don't think anyone would disagree, but you can let me know if you think otherwise. The fifth book I'm going to talk about is The Chaos of Standing Still. So I've mainly seen this edition, but I have to actively tell myself that these are snowflakes because I just see blue flowers. So that's just me. And then there's this other edition that I haven't really seen a lot of. It tells me more about the story. It shows that there's gonna be a romance, that they're in an airport, and the only thing it doesn't give me is Christmassy vibes. But again, I don't see the snowflakes. So personally, I like this edition more than the other one. If they wanted to make it more Christmassy vibe, they could have given it that same blue color, and they could have maybe had the clouds have snow. But overall, I like this version over this version. The sixth book I'm going to talk about is Love from A to Z. So first we have this cover. So you can obviously tell that these two characters are at an airport and they're very different from one another and it's going to be a love story. And you just want to see how they're going to come together. It's a really intriguing and fun cover and it makes me want to pick it up and read it. And then we have this edition, which isn't bad by any means, but I think it focuses too much on the title than the characters, and I like that the first edition does that. The seventh book I'm going to talk about is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. So the original edition looks like this. I don't love the colors. The guy on a balcony, it does give me villain vibes, but it's more like evil dictator vibes. I prefer this edition so much more. the red is so creepy, and then there's the trail of bones. It just makes me want to pick it up, and I haven't read it yet, and I really want to. So hopefully I can get to that soon. And the 8th book I'm going to talk about is Uglies by Scott Westerfield. To be honest with you, this is the first series that I ever DNF'd. I got to Pretties, which is the 2nd book, and it made me so mad I stopped reading. That being said, this original cover, I mean, it had the trend that was the half face. Nobody liked those, but it was 2005, so what can you do? It's not a pretty cover, but it's not supposed to be, and it reflects exactly how the story begins. So for this reason, I like this cover, especially since they changed it to this, which is so creepy and just, no, it's the exact opposite of the message that they were going for in this book. Glad I don't have anything to do with that, because it's just, no. The 9th book I'm going to talk about is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. So when I first saw this cover, I liked it. I thought it was good. But then I saw the UK cover, which is stunning. Like, it is so gorgeous. I love it so much. To be honest, all of Brandon Sanderson's UK covers are far better than the US covers. And we all know this. I specifically searched Brandon Sanderson US covers, and I got UK covers in The Way of Kings, which granted is the only decent US covers. But all I could find were these spines, and I think it's hilarious. We really got the short end of the stick on that one. The 10th book I'm going to talk about is The Field Guide to the American Teenager by Ben Phillip. So the original cover was this, which was basically just a notebook and some doodles. It was just sort of plain and doesn't really make me want to read the book. And then they changed it to this, which has so much more character. I guess I love seeing characters on the cover because it just helps me see more of the story, so I really like this. And I'm very glad that they changed it because now I really want to pick it up. Okay, the 11th book I'm going to talk about makes me mad. And that's gonna be Dear Justice, which is the sequel to Dear Martin by Nick Stone. These two covers look so great together. I love them. They work so well. They show us the two different characters that will be narrating their stories. So the first book, Dear Martin, came out, and it has the same cover for both the hardback and the paperback. So I was expecting it to stay that way. So Dear Justice comes out, I see this amazing cover, and I go, yay, I can't wait for the paperback to come out. And then the paperback comes out, and it changes to this. These don't go together. Why is it orange? It makes me so mad because I love these books. I think they're great. I want to own them, but now I have to buy both of them in hardback because I bought this one in paperback. The struggles of being a reader. Let me know if you've had this struggle before down in the comments. The 12th book I'm going to talk about is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I think this cover is gorgeous. I love that unless you've read the book, you don't understand what it's symbolizing. And I really like this edition, especially since the hardcover is this. Blue and yellow don't go together, people. They just don't. So I'm very happy that they changed it to this edition in the paperbacks. But ironically, it switches for me when it comes to the second book, Muse of Nightmares. I don't love the red. Maybe it's the purple cover on the hardcover, but I like the hardcover more. But I wanted to get these both in the paperback edition, and I do like them together. Just, I like this one a little less, but I can deal with it. The 13th book that I'm going to talk about is the Monsters of Verity duology by Victoria Schwab. So these are the US editions. I really like the conflicting colors because that's how our characters are. I like seeing the instruments on the cover because they are very involved in the story, and I like the darkness creeping in. I think these covers really fit the story themselves. The UK covers are this, which just gives me Twilight vibes. Yeah, I don't like them. They're not that good in my opinion. And the 14th and final book that I'm going to talk about is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. Like I've said, the US got the short end of the stick. So you can choose between Ugly A, Ugly B, or Ugly C. Whereas the UK version is this stunning edition, which I just love so much. It's so pretty, and I just think these editions are so gorgeous, and I wish that the US versions could be half as pretty, because that would be better than what we have now. So those are all the books that I wanted to talk about today. Let me know which of these editions you like best and some of your favorite editions of books down in the comments. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to share the love. I'll see you next time. Bye!